It was late, and the wind whistled around the empty cathedral. Tears wept, jittered like dripping vassals from the storm of his anger. He dropped the sacred quill to the parchment that rolled vicariously to the floor. I will not be denied the position herewith given. Thomas raged within his tired head. He swirled around to hear the storm outside, having only just got back from France. The eve before all around him was new to him. The realm had changed in his absence. Laws had been passed. Nobles had been forgiven. His word had been abandoned. Ralph de Bock had spurned him on his return to the land of his birth, and his old friend Henry Plantagenet had refused to meet him at all. This was the last insult. The bolted door of the holy place clattered and banged like all the imps in hell. He would fall to the death of crownless kings. 1170, and the Archbishop of Canterbury moved towards the oak doors, having just finished the last sermon, issuing a final interdict on his remaining enemies in England. The troublesome priest knew this was the end. Being simply the son of a merchant, and tutored by Osbert Hernandez, a simple gesticular, he had little knowledge of the habit. Condemned by his own quest for knowledgeable achievement, and death awaited him in the form of a fractured capitalist society. Thomas Becket was, in his mind, the first victim of institutional conformity. The structure of youth is sporadic and rife with turmoil at the best of times. Gangs of gangly youths terrify society in public today, desperately trying to invest in the ideals of anarchic policy. Was it always thus? It was the new age of enlightenment and reason, during which Karl Marx sought to identify the structure of education in terms of his theories of consumer-based or capitalist infrastructure. It was hoped that this last would result in the synthesis of objectives between the feudal class structure. Marx said in his opening line of his Communist Manifesto in 1848, "The history of all hitherto existing society is a history of class struggle, resulting in what we might call a matriarchy-driven society." Marx's ideas, which he called his ideological apparatus, entails the acceptance of hierarchy in relation to the structure of schools and its division of knowledge into component parts, called fragmentation. It is the need of a leader that's a society that binds it together, resulting in a system that cannot function without a leadership structure. Having realised that the educational capitalism is at a loss without a system of leadership or matriarchy, it takes us to the next stage of organic solidarity. Catherine Kiernan states in her article, Family Change, Issues and Implications, young people are spending longer time as solos than in a recent past, living with their parents, or on their own sharing with others. Her argument being very humanistic in approach, as she stresses that institutions will need to address the implications of this novel development. A point of view which varies from that of Morgan, who believes we should be content with the evolutionary process that has resulted in something other than dissolution. The whole argument is very postmodernistic in attitude, although it does falter on that score on occasion, stressing the need to address the reality that is change in today's society. Accommodating economic and domestic humanistic shifts in the country, postmodernism could be seen as a new approach by Mrs. Greening. It seems, in fact, it might be described as state apparatus around a quantitative basis where children could be compartmentalised and structuralised, lesson timetables, individual learning programs, and a very regimented regime. At an early age, prepare them for life within the workplace. Critical education. Dialectic education, however, where Marx's extended theories are the founding basis achieving true cohesion within a system of workers and financially based employers. In this, there must be a system of dialectic conflict occurring, the melding of motivational forces from the people and directorial dictatorship from the higher classes, resulting in the synthesis to produce a resulting product. Economic and humanistic fractures showed in abundance in 1169 when Thomas Becket returned home, and it was compounded even further when Henry II took it upon himself to crown his son regent without the consent of the Archbishop of Canterbury present. Instead, he had the Archbishop of York do it. Not only that, but it was done without the consent of the Pope himself. The See of Canterbury and Rome was assaulted beyond belief. All this from the fractured and structuralized tutelage of a young Becket, a true ideological apparatus. The bishop's insulting letters and pounding of abuse at his king had finally made the headlines on his death. As Sir Thomas Becket was thrashing around the stone floor of his own cathedral agony and streams of his own blood, he might have reflected on the wisdom of allowing such a division of knowledge into his court. Critical education is one thing, but to allow it to bring to such a situation as to be run through by the king's men at the door of your own place of worship is another. It's a one that such low-born men have the propensity to aspire to such heights. Some might say that such an aspiration will not occur again until Thomas Wolsey, some 5 centuries later. King Henry's mediocrity might have come from Marx's ideology in person. Indeed, it's a wonder the socialist was not born 700 earlier. He would have fit in perfectly in the early Plantagenet court after the troublesome priest was troublesome no more.
Next time on Retrospective Rumours, I examine the recent French elections and how they have brought about such a shift in the realization of the outlook of that nation. In particular, I look at the way in which it is outlining the extremism of religious outrage and a comparison to the rights of man documented so many years ago.
This thing is gonna go so swimmingly. Well, it's probably not, but there you go. The door, the bolted door of the holy place. Ugh. Let's try and give this a go. It really doesn't like this at all. Hates it. This is ridiculous, this phone. It really is. My glasses and now this I do. Oh gosh. Domestic shifts and humanistic shifts in critical education. Critical education. Am I gonna do this? Am I going to be able to do this? Now that's the question. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, this is really stupid. I don't believe this. The question. That is the fundamental question.
Beautiful.